You are live. Yay! Hello!
Yay! Great. So shall we start officially? Or should we wait till this?
Maybe we should wait like 30 seconds just to
Okay.
make sure the stream is going well, and then
for the people who are fashionably late.
Yes.
Cool. I think we're good. It looks like we're live everywhere.
Yay!
Right.
Okay. Well, let's start this thing. So, hello everyone. Welcome to Kitka's first live watch party on multiple formats, Facebook Live, kitka.org, YouTube, and a few other spots. This is a big experiment for us, our first time rollout. So I hope you'll all be patient with us if we encounter any technical difficulties. But the occasion for this watch party is the premiere of Kitka's first virtual choir video, which we submitted, was it just last week, to the NPR Tiny Desk concert, and there's quite a story to how that came to be. So before we get started, I just wanted to introduce our Illuminous panel. My name is Shira Cion. I'm Kitka's executive and artistic director and also a vocalist with the ensemble. I've been working with Kitka for 32 years. Quite unbelievably. And, you know, we are, all of us in the performing arts are all in a time where we all have to be sort of reinventing who we are and how we do what we do. And this group of people I'm sharing the screen with have just been intrepid creative innovator partners. And so I wanted to just quickly go around and tell you who they are. Janet Kutulas, in the black and white sailor stripes, has also been singing by my side for nearly 32 years. And she's an amazing singer and also a director of our Zele community choir and an amazing composer and arranger and the creator of the tune Geshem, Geshem, which we'll be talking about today. Kelly Atkins joined us in, was it the fall of 2010?
I think that's right, yeah.
And Kelly is a gorgeous singer, a former indie rock star, and still an indie rock star. And she brings not only just an amazing voice, but incredible organizational skills, and also I call her our media maven. She's just so on top of all things having to do with recording and video and production and social media, and just so grateful to have her on our team. And finally, we have our tectonic wizard, Briget Boyle, who has set up all these feeds and has really taken so much leadership during this shelter-in-place period, trying to find ways that we can utilize available technologies to stay creative and singing together and stay connected with our community. Bridget's also an amazing singer-songwriter. She runs Waximile Productions, an independent record label. She teaches. She does so many things for so many people. And Bridget's been working with Kitka on and off, and when it's on and all in, since I believe the summer of 2004. Is that right?
That's right.
So that's who we are, and we are just going to dive right in with the thing, the watch. So this is our very first virtual choir experiment, which we submitted to NPR's Tiny Desk concert in late April. It's a tune called Geshem, Geshem, written by our very own Janet Kutulas.
Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Ohayom, Tip-potamayim, Potamayim, Hamayim, Maha. Ukap-top, tip-top, tip-top. Geshem, 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 Mishamayim. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Ohayom, Tip-potamayim, Potamayim, Hamayim, Maha. Ukap-top, tip-top, tip-top. Geshem, 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 Mishamayim. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim. Geshem, Ohayom, Tip-potamayim, Potamayim, Hamayim, Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Ohayom, Tip-potamayim, Potamayim, Hamayim, Maha, Ukap-top, tip-top, tip-top. Geshem, 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 Mishamayim. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Ohayom, Tip-potamayim, Potamayim, Hamayim, Maha, Ukap-top, tip-top, tip-top. Geshem, 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 Mishamayim. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Ohayom, Tip-potamayim, Potamayim, Hamayim, Maha, Ukap-top, tip-top, tip-top. Geshem, 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 Mishamayim. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Ohayom, Tip-potamayim, Potamayim, Hamayim, Maha, Ukap-top, tip-top, tip-top. Geshem, 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 Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Ohayom, Tip-potamayim, Potamayim, Hamayim, Maha, Ukap-top, tip-top, tip-top. Geshem, 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 Mishamayim. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Ohayom, Tip-potamayim, Potamayim, Hamayim, Maha, Ukap-top, tip-top, tip-top. Geshem, Geshem, Mishamayim, Tip-top, top, tip-top. Ohayom, Tip-potamayim, Potamayim, Hamayim, Maha, Ukap-top, tip-top, tip-top. Geshem, 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 Mishamayim.
Shira, I think you're on mute.
Uh-oh.
There we go. Now you're not. I got you.
Okay. Hey, sorry about that. So glad that worked. Thanks, Briget. You're amazing.
I just started weeping midway through that. Oh my gosh.
I got really scared halfway through. I thought I was supposed to be singing.
Me too. I thought I was supposed to be singing too.
I was like rocking out this whole.
So I think what we wanted to do now is just sort of start a conversation, and we welcome folks to submit any questions you may have. We want to talk both about how we made this thing, and also how Janet made the piece herself. So I think first we're going to talk about the sort of making of the video and how it came to life, and how basically Briget and Kelly defied space, time, and gravity to make it work. So why don't I turn it over to Briget and Kelly, and why don't you guys tell us the story.
Yeah, thanks, Shira. I see that there's people in the chat asking about how we made it, so this is a perfect time to jump into that part of the conversation. So I think when we went into quarantine, I know for me, like singing is such an important part of my life, and being in community and singing in community is such an important part of who I am and how I define myself. And so it became vital for me to find a way to make Kitka be able to sing together. And luckily there was some really wonderful energy from other people in the group from everybody in the group really to make this happen. So part of what we did that I think is really exciting is that we actually had a Zoom call where we all were singing together to a same, we did use a reference track. It was a live performance from our Winter Songs series, which was actually one of the last time we performed in front of an audience before quarantine was in Winter Songs. And so we used that as a reference track to sing to all sing together. And each of us videoed ourselves separately. So we're on the Zoom call, so we felt like we were together, but then we all had our separate devices that recorded what we were doing. And then, we did it a few times, and then everybody sent me their favorite take, and I put it into Adobe Premiere and actually downloaded Adobe Premiere on a Monday and learned the whole program I don't know what I was thinking, but I spent a lot of hours working on it, mainly because of the learning curve. I think if once my editing skills get a little stronger, it'll be faster. But luckily what was so great was that the vocals, it actually worked. Like we didn't have to work very hard. I mean, Kelly did audio mixing also, and I'll let you speak to that as well. But mostly it was just so heartening that we could sing together, and even though it didn't necessarily feel that way, we kind of created that vibe. So Kelly, I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
No, I agree. I mean, the feeling of singing together live, doing that virtually, it was your idea, Briget, I think, to do it over Zoom. And even though there was a bit of a delay, we could all see each other's faces. We were all like goofing off and talking like we would before an actual rehearsal, which was great. And we kind of felt each other in the room as we were singing alone in our bedrooms, so. Yeah,
and in fact, there's actually a funny little video that I'll grab and share with you guys.
Yeah, you should share that because it shows behind the scenes.
Find it. Yeah. Sorry, give me 1 second.
I was looking for that. Let me just clarify that. So the source recording wasn't actually achieved on Zoom, but Briget came up with this brilliant strategy for sort of getting us over our fears about the new technology. And so our initial exercise was sort of this faux live virtual choir, because the Zoom technology itself has all sorts of latency and delay issues. But we had this sort of visual of each other all trying to do this and trying to make this thing together. And prior to doing that, Briget even sent us a little here's how we're going to do it, guys, video, and you need this set of headphones and this set of headphones, and you plug your this into your that. And it was really, it was a wonderful way to sort of assuage the fears of the technophobes in the group, myself being one of them. So
this is great. Right before you recorded. And no.
I will take credit for the umbrella idea, though.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was our green room experience.
The main sonic sort of thing that we had to get over was the sound of the microphones, because we actually most of us recorded on just our little iPhone headphone mics. And everybody recorded in a different room. So everybody's, microphones were better or worse. And sometimes it was real close and sometimes it was really squeaky. So it was really hard to sort of get everybody in sort of sonically the same space. So that was for me, the biggest challenge with mixing it. But it was also really fun because I felt like, we're making a thing. Even though we're all separate, we can still make a thing. So that was the most exciting thing.
It was also a really stupid song to pick for our first because
the most complicated song we have.
And there's two teams, and so nobody ever sings throughout the song, so that nobody could lay down a track or anything. So we knew we couldn't record it that way. And Briget's idea of having us at least the whole idea of being on Zoom while we were recording, even though we weren't recording on Zoom at all, was just to watch each other. And I have to say that just really helped, because it was so goofy that we're all standing around in our rooms. Like, the hardest part about recording was, for me, was having to carry an umbrella, having to sing with the umbrella, because it kept banging against the wall and getting caught in the headphones and pulling them off, and just
That's legit.
and people in their homes were just set up in bizarre situations. Katya had to stand on her textbooks in order to be in the right high enough for her phone camera, etc.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's coming up for me around all of this technology and seeing what all of my musician friends and artist friends around the world are doing is, like, we are the most resilient people. Like, it's just, I feel like there's this energy toward creativity that, like, I honestly feel like being creative in this time is going to help us all get through it. And it's, like, good for your immune system. It's good to keep your brain active. It's like, there's something really special. There's really interesting opportunities of, like, of innovation for survival, you know. And I personally am very privileged. I'm okay. My health is fine. I live in a, you know, I come from a really privileged place, and I understand that. And I have the technology at my fingertips, but it's given what we did use kind of minimal technology to create this thing. You know, of course we had Zoom and computers and that kind of thing, but I don't know. I think that there's so much potential here, and it was really exciting to realize that folk music can also be made online.
Yeah.
Great. So time is just flying by. So I wanted to switch the conversation. Janet mentioned that this was probably the stupidest song we could have picked for our first virtual choir experiment. Part of the reason why is that Janet created this very intricate composition with antiphonal Hocketing teams, and, like, my part, you know, was a lot of, like, oh, you know, and being alone in a bedroom with a bunch of gear and an umbrella, you know, it was a very different experience singing that rather than, you know, being in a room and creating lush harmonies together. But I wanted to switch the focus now to Janet and actually kind of the Lego building blocks of this piece. And even though it was probably a bit unrealistic as a first virtual choir attempt, this is sort of a testament that anything's possible with determination. And Janet, why don't you tell us something about the piece and what inspired you to create it in the first place, and some of your compositional inspirations?
Sure. Well, we I guess back at Briget talked about winter songs. So back in December, when we had our winter songs concerts, we needed a song. We were looking for a Jewish song, some Jewish material, and we had specific needs too, because our winter songs concerts were themed concerts, and they had to do with climate change, and we wanted to make a statement about the weather going awry. So we couldn't just look for a Jewish song. We were looking for a Jewish song that had something to do with weather, and it all of a sudden it seemed easier for me to make one up than to find one. So I had made up a couple melodies, a melody and a counter melody, and then I always I forget that it's a good idea to think of words first, possibly, but I hadn't done that. So I looked online. I remember Googling things like Hebrew lyrics rain song or something like that. And I think eventually I found some simple lyrics. The song is simple. It's a short melody, and I didn't want too many words. So I found some lyrics from a traditional children's song that fit the bill, and they fit in there really nicely. And I liked the way they had the sound of the rain represented in there with some tiff-toffing. And then at the same time, I guess it was before December at some point, we had some guest artists in town from Georgia, an amazing group called Adelaide, 9 guys who were just incredible singers. And we had some workshops with them, and we got to be in their audience in a small concert for 2 nights in a row. And they were experts in the art of krimanchuli, which is sort of Georgian yodeling. So I thought it would be nice to have some yodeling in the song. And also they, at their concert, they sang a song, an 11-minute song that made us all fall out of our seats. It was a Gurian song, Surebis Naduri. Naduri is a type of work song, I think. And they sang this song, and by the time they got to the end of the song, it just ratcheted up. They were in like 12th gear or something by the time they got to the end. And the song is a sort of a traditional type of Georgian song. Briget's going to play a clip for you. I thought it would be neat to get some of these fireworks into this, into Geshem, and that I thought it would be cool to sing it in teams. This is a group called Dilas. This is an old recording. It doesn't say how old, unless you can understand the Georgian script there. And this is a little bit of the end of their work song that you can hear here at the end. So you can hear how they sing in teams, and they're passing on these ye-wo, 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 and then there's the yo, the yodeling stuff happening. And Briget has another clip. Whoops. There's several things you can find in YouTube that show and these Gurian work songs. Are we okay, Briget?
Yeah, I just needed to. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Here we go. Here's the next one.
That show them working in line, and so they're in this long line, and maybe this is staged, but there were enough of these types of videos on YouTube that I think it came from something real. And these guys are in a long line working, and you can see how the back and forth thing would come into play if you were working in a field and you wanted to communicate with the guys at the other end.
Okay, here we go.
So they make it look fun to be out there working hard in the field. And then we also wanted to play a clip of that last bit of the 11-minute Adele song. This is Adele singing, and it really revs up towards the end. The way these songs start hocketing back and forth, it just becomes more and more frenzied. And this kind of major key sort of it sounded like a train whistle to me came in, and I thought that would also be fun to put in Geshem, and you can really hear these guys do that.
All right, here we go.
It was like literally the most exciting performance I'd ever. I was freaking out. We were all freaking out,
Yeah,
weren't we?
we were just like
freaking out,
flotsing in our.
Oh my god!
It's like, I can see. Like I feel like I've taken a bath in joy or something. Like, just so good.
Yeah, it was really loud.
Levan Bitarovi from Ensemble Adelaide just
is here.
with us. So, yay,
Adelaide.
Awesome. Oh wait, let me unshare. Here we go.
Yeah.
Do we want to open it up to questions? Are we ready for that?
Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, I think Briget is the only one who can actually see them in real time. Is that right?
Yeah, let's see. There's this question here from Joe Barr. Says, now that you've had this experience with the technology, is there inspiration to take it to another level? Are there opportunities the technology affords you that you may not have thought of before? I mean, I see tons of opportunities. I also hope that there's a lot more like funding for electronic stuff. It's like, It's a different kind of work. It's really a different kind of work than what Kitka typically does. But I definitely see a lot of opportunity for interesting projects like working. We've had workshops with one of our mentors who lives in Tbilisi, Tamar Buadze.
In Rustavi, actually.
Oh, in Rustavi, excuse me. Yeah. And sorry, we met her when we were in Tbilisi, so that's my mistake. But yeah, I mean, we're able to kind of study long distance, which is really interesting. Yeah. And that kind of, to me, opens up a whole world of opportunity. And hey, Ollie.
Hi, buddy. Hi. I'm going to have to, buddy.
And I'll add that, as Briget said, it's one of the things that's kind of amazing about this particular moment in human history, because borders and geographies just seem to be melting away. And even though for a long time, we've had Skype technology and Facebook and the ability to connect with people all over the world, but because we're all going through this pandemic moment together and we're all sheltering in place in many places, there's this sort of feeling of like real global togetherness. And so to call Tamara in Rustavi when it's midnight her time and 1 o'clock our time and say, hey, let's sing together. These are new things that we never would have considered doing under other conditions.
I just want to jump in real quick. Somebody asked here, what's up with the tiny desk? And I think that's actually another opportunity that this has afforded us. There's been talk, I know, over the last few years of Kitka entering the Tiny Desk contest. What Tiny Desk contest is a contest that NPR has opened up over the last 4 or 5, 6 years, maybe, I don't know. And they welcome entries from independent musicians from all over the world. And it's or is it American?
Just United States.
Just United States. And the idea is that you play a live performance with a tiny desk in your video. And so or a large desk. And the way that we handled that was a little toy tiny desk that Erin was holding up. Janet was with a desk. Yeah, from her daughter's dollhouse. So that's what the tiny desk is all about. And I do think that because of the sort of need for us to continue to make music, it actually gave us an opportunity to enter this contest in a way that felt really good. So.
Any other questions from the feed?
Let's see. Somebody says this sounds like Inuit throat singing, kind of like Balinese ketchak. Yeah, I can hear that. Mm-hmm. Astonishing.
It's interesting because that we picked this piece to do, because it's exactly what you can't do really well online through Zoom, for example, because you just can't sing together on a platform like Zoom and be in rhythm. And you can't even we've experimented, you can't drone and have somebody sing on top. There are probably ways to do that better than through Zoom that we're looking into, but Yeah.
I will say, like, one of the things that this sheltering in place moment has really brought to light is, you know, what really makes ensemble singing or ensemble music making so precious and really so refined. I mean, when you think about the world of technology and the incredible feats and phenomenal things that technology can accomplish, it's sort of yet to meet the challenge of, you know, what it really takes to be sharing breath and sharing space and deep listening together with other music makers. And I think this moment has really made us all realize that we're never going to take that human privilege for granted ever again. It's been a real roller coaster of excitement of like, hey, we're doing something new, we're making something new, coupled with, you know, with a really deep grief of not being able to do it together in real space and not knowing when we're going to be able to do it together, given that, you know, medical experts are saying that conditions for live performances being safe, live performances in the form that we've known them for our entire lifetimes are many, many, many months off. So it really, this moment and this challenge has really raised my esteem for music makers everywhere, and makes me cherish the art of ensemble music making like I never have before, and I can't wait till.
That's so true. Yes, back. Yes, ditto. Wonderful.
That's great. So there's a couple more questions. Somebody asked what the best mic is, and it's funny because I actually put that question on my Facebook the other day, and all of my recording engineer friends are like, "This is the best mic. This is the best mic." So there's a lot of different options. It really depends on your budget and what your goals are. There's a lot of good research online. If you're trying to make choral music, which we can't really do in person right now, like that's a different kind of microphone than if you're singing solo. So there's a lot of different ways to get to what's the best for you. And I think for every person it's different. And then Ian McLaren asks, do we have plans to go to Europe once travel becomes an option? And it's kind of interesting because this summer we were planning to maybe go to Georgia, and that isn't going to happen, but I'd say probably, right, Shira?
Definitely. And, you know, we're just having to look super, super far ahead at this point. You know, our first canceled event was, I think, March 7th. And, you know, everything for the next 5 months has pretty much been cleared from our calendars, and nobody really knows when, but we're staying in close contact with all of our presenting partners and the festivals and all the opportunities that we had to cross off our calendars, and are just relying on technology and our online community to stay connected through this passage.
Great, and there's just a couple more questions, I guess we have time for a couple more minutes. So Lynn asks when we'll find out about Tiny Desk and are there separate categories? And it's unclear when they're going to come up with their decision about the winner of the contest. And there's some discussions going on about like how to judge, because there was people who were able to submit videos before quarantine and after quarantine, and the process of making those videos is so different that I think there's some discussion around how to compare apples and oranges. Basically, I don't know what's going to come of that. And then there are separate categories. We entered in the world music category, and Joyce.
So I think there's just one winner, though, I believe.
Yeah,
I think yeah. Separate categories. Yeah.
And then Joyce asks. She said you recorded on your phones. What kind of mics or headphones did you use, or would we suggest? I mean, honestly, the it's not ideal, but the headphones, the Apple. These guys are decent.
I think that probably if we're going to do it again, we probably won't record on those. We probably try to figure out a way for people to be able to hear and then record on a separate microphone, just because of the mixing process was pretty difficult based on the digital nature of the headphones. So, but you can do it. I mean, a lot of people do. I think with such a large ensemble, I think it was different, more difficult for us because of that. But if it was just one or two people, it might have been different.
And there are microphones that are specific to these outlets. Like you can get the little, or like a USB mic, which can plug into your computer if you don't have an audio interface.
Yep.
it's been an interesting thing because I have to be so appreciative of Briget and Kelly here, and also Hannah Levy, another Kitka who's not here, who's done a lot of tech work on another project for us. And because I can't do any of this stuff, and I'm maybe a little too old and resistant to want to learn it all from scratch. But it's been interesting, and so far in Kitka, we've spent a lot of time, like I think each of us in our own spaces and in our own rooms, we have our little setup where I have to rubber band I have to borrow my husband's iPhone and then rubber band it onto a music stand and put it up really high and set it on the desk. And then I have to sit in a particular chair. And it's just, we all have our own little setup, and then trying to keep yourself in there in the right place in the screen, and it's a whole different new set of concerns while you're singing that I've never had to worry about before. I have to bring this lamp out from the other room and take the top off of it. It's been interesting.
The MacGyver of home recording.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And then somebody asks how we're rehearsing virtually, and that's a good question. We've been meeting weekly and mostly kind of doing verbal check-ins just to make sure we're all kind of hanging out and doing okay, and keeping kind of staying connected emotionally and psychologically. And then last night, we've been doing the workshops with Tamar Buadze, and then last night we did our first kind of real singing experience, which was fun. Like I led warm-ups, and then we sang a song that we learned from Tamar. And
we muted and unmuted ourselves so we could hear each other and tried to pass the song around line by line. And it felt like we were singing together. It was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I again, being such a harmony addict, I sort of left. It was like, yeah, that sort of felt like we were singing together.
Not the same.
It's got to be a better way. And so I was like up all night tossing and turning in my bed, trying to visualize there's got to be a different way. We're going to invent the next way. We're going to figure it out. And
there are some things that we have, right, you guys, that we're thinking about in terms of, so stay tuned.
Yeah. And, and Kitka's, like I said, we're having to really reinvent ourselves and rethink every plan that we had laid for the next year or so. And so if you guys want to stay on top of that and receive our next virtual choir releases or news about other online offerings, please sign our mailing list on our website. But even better yet, and our website is kitka.org, kitka.org. But really where everything seems to be happening these days, for better or worse, is on social media. So please like our Facebook page. One of the things that's interesting and new about this period is that a lot of things come together very quickly and sometimes very spontaneously. It's like someone may be having an online chat with a singer friend in Serbia, and it's really cooking, and they're like, let's go live and share a song together or something like that. So if you're on our social media channels, you might be able to catch more of those things that we don't have the regular lead time to publicize through our regular channels. I also want to put in a plug. We have all kinds of things listed on our website and our Facebook page. Briget is leading Monday morning vocal warm-ups live on Facebook Live. We have Balkan vocal technique workouts on Tuesday nights with Michelle Simon. The beautiful Persian vocalist Masa Vadat, who is one of our Kitka Institute teaching artists, is doing spring-inspired Persian vocal master classes. One of our collaborators, Paulina Shepard, who's based in Brighton, UK, is doing daily online Yiddish and Russian sing-along sessions that
and she's watching us too.
Hey, Paulina! Paulina is just doing amazing stuff, and she's an amazing pianist besides being an amazing teacher and singer. And so her pianism can really like drive these singing sessions and provides the harmony that those of us who are accustomed to singing a cappella in harmony can't provide with our technological limitations. Another one of our singers, Lily Storm, is going to be doing an online sight singing for singers class, as well as international phonetics for singers.
Wow.
We've got all kinds of stuff cooking, and the best way to stay on top of it all is to follow us on both our website, our mailing list, and our social media channels.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Yay.
Thanks for being here.
Yes, thanks for joining us for our first watch party experiment. We'd love your feedback. Please send us any feedback you have. And as our community, it's also just so important to us to hear from you about how we can serve you during these challenging times, how music is sustaining you, how it's pulling you through, how you're singing, how you're making music. So please just stay in touch with us in every way that you can.
And if you like this video, please share it with your friends.
Yes, it will be archived.
Really helps.
It'll be archived on Facebook and a few other places, so feel free to share it.
All right.
Okay.
We're
Thanks,
gonna
everybody, for
say
being
goodbye
here.
now.
Yeah, thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Hello, Hasmi.
Oh yeah, Hasmeek was on
Bye,
your bye.
Levi.
Hasmeek, bye.
Okay, here we go. Ending the broadcast.